We often think of China as, well, the world's factory floor, right? The place where so much of our stuff gets made.
Hmm.
But I wonder, is that really the full picture anymore? What if the real story of China's tech rise is actually being told quieter, like in international patent filings?
That is exactly the fascinating angle we're digging into today.
Yeah.
We're looking at this really interesting new paper. It's from April 2025 called "From Partner to Rival: Understanding China's Technological Rise Through Patent Data."
Patent data. Okay, I admit, it might sound a bit dry on the surface.
Yeah, get
But this research argues that when countries file patents abroad, these patent exports, they call them, it's a very deliberate, strategic thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than just filling out forms. Think about it. Companies pour time, money, resources into getting international patents. Why?
Okay, why?
Well, first, they've spotted valuable foreign markets,
Right.
right? Places they want exclusive rights to sell their inventions.
Makes sense. Lock it down.
Exactly. And it's also about defense stopping competitors from just copying their cool new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe crucially, getting a patent in a tough place, like the US, for example, with high standards. That sends a powerful signal. It says, hey, this innovation is actually high quality.
Like a badge of honor, almost?
Kind of, yeah. And the researchers here use this data set in AppPack Hill ATS, it's called. It's apparently really comprehensive, covers a long time span, loads of countries, and gets into the nitty-gritty of what tech fields these international patents are in.
Okay, so that's patent exports. What about the flip side? If a country is getting lots of patent applications coming in the patent imports, what's that signal?
Good question. So they usually suggest a few things. Or one, foreign innovators see that country as an attractive market,
Hmm.
definitely worth protecting their ideas in.
Right.
Two, it can mean there's a strong domestic industry there, companies that could potentially understand, maybe even build on those foreign technologies.
Ah, so they need to protect it from the local players too.
Potentially, yeah. And third, it implies the country has a reliable system for, actually enforcing those intellectual property rights.
Okay.
So by looking at these flows, patents going out, patents coming in, we get these really valuable clues about how countries see each other's tech strengths and market potential.
And for you listening, this is kind of a shortcut, isn't it? To understanding a really big global shift where China's putting its innovation focus, how it's stacking up against the big tech leaders without having to, get bogged down in super complex economic models.
Exactly. Our mission here is really to pull out the most crucial bits from this patent data to see China's tech evolution from this really different strategic perspective.
Okay, let's dig in then. The paper talks about something called the Export Similarity Index, ESI. What's that telling us?
Right, the ESI. So basically, it measures how similar two countries are in the sectors where they're seeking international patents.
So, like comparing their shopping list for global innovation protection.
Yeah, that's a decent way to put it. Are they both heavily patenting in, say, electronics or chemicals or machinery? It shows where their global innovation priorities overlap.
And what did they find? What were the big ESI trends between China and the established advanced economies?
Well, interestingly, Japan actually had the highest similarity with China consistently. It stayed pretty steady, somewhere between like 78 and 83%.
Okay.
But the really striking thing was the increase in similarity with other big players. The U.S., for example, its ESI with China just kept climbing after 2014, hit 80% by 2021.
80%. Wow. What about Europe?
Yeah, the euro area as a whole saw a big jump too, from 36% up to 75% between 2014 and 2021. And Germany specifically had a really strong surge from 67% up to 78%.
So, wait, these rising scores, it means China and these advanced economies are increasingly going after international patents in the same kinds of technology fields.
That's exactly what it suggests, a convergence in where they're focusing their international innovation efforts.
And did the paper say which fields were driving this?
It did, and this is key. The machinery and equipment sector was the main driver, by far.
Machinery and equipment.
Yeah. Chemicals played a role too, but smaller. Machinery was the big one.
Huh. That doesn't sound like just basic manufacturing anymore. That sounds like, well, more sophisticated, higher value industries.
You've nailed it. That's the core takeaway here. It strongly suggests China's tech development is aligning much more closely with the advanced economies. It's a shift away from just being the low-cost factory
Yeah.
towards being a direct competitor in, really technology-heavy fields.
Are we talking specific types of machinery? Did they get into that level of detail?
They did point to significant increases in patenting related to advanced industrial machinery and even some areas of transportation tech. So yes, specific high-value areas.
Okay, interesting. Now, the paper also brings in another measure, the Partner Similarity Index, or PSI. How's that different from the ESI?
Right, the PSI. It's a slightly different lens. It looks at how well the sectors where country A is exporting patents align with the sectors where country B is importing patents.
Ah, okay. So it's about matching one country's innovation supply, shown by its outbound patents, with another country's sort of technological demand, shown by the patents it's receiving.
Exactly. It's about that specific supply-demand alignment between two partners.
Got it. And what did they find when they looked at China's PSI, specifically China's exports matching up with the imports of advanced economies?
Well, the U.S. showed the highest and actually the most stable alignment with China's patenting choices, really consistent, around 90%.
Find you. Yeah.
The UK was also pretty high,
Yeah.
somewhere between 85 and 90%, though maybe a bit more up and down.
Hmm.
But Germany, again, showed a really noticeable upward trend. The alignment between Germany's imports and China's exports really climbed between 2013 and 2021.
So let me get this straight. China is increasingly seeking patents in the exact same tech areas where the US, the UK, and especially Germany are seeing a lot of foreign patent activity coming in.
That's what the data strongly suggests, yeah.
That feels very targeted, like a deliberate strategy.
It certainly looks like strategic intent, doesn't it? Trying to
Yeah.
secure IP rights in sectors that are clearly highly valued and heavily innovated within those specific advanced economies, maybe as a first step towards gaining market share there.
Right.
And if you look at the sector breakdown for China's exports again, guess what pops up?
Well, let me guess. Machinery and equipment.
Bingo. That sector is a key area driving this increasing alignment.
Fascinating. Okay, but what about the other way around? How well do the patent exports from the US, Germany, etc., align with what China is importing? Is it symmetrical?
Well, that's where the picture gets a bit more, let's say, nuanced.
Okay.
Overall, the patent strategies of the advanced economies towards China seemed more stable, less dramatic change. Although Germany did show the clearest increase in alignment, but mostly after 2018. It wasn't as steep or consistent as the other way around.
So maybe the advanced economies are being a bit more cautious or selective about what they're trying to patent in China.
That's a plausible interpretation.
Yeah.
It could reflect a more strategic, perhaps circumspect approach. Maybe being more careful about protecting their absolute cutting-edge tech within the Chinese market, especially given China's own rising capabilities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And actually, this observation kind of lines up with other research, I think, from the Federal Reserve that noted China was importing fewer specialized high-tech products from Europe. That may be a related trend.
So it's not quite a two-way street in terms of rapidly increasing alignment. The advanced economies seem a bit more guarded.
It appears that way based on this patent data, yes.
Hmm.
If you look at the sectors for their exports into China, you do see some increased alignment in machinery and equipment, but the overall pattern feels more complex, maybe more guarded, than China's approach towards them.
Okay. This whole idea of patents being more than just legal protection. The paper mentions them as a signal of technological credibility. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. I mean, think about getting a patent, especially in a place like the US or Europe. It's not easy.
Right.
There's a tough examination process.
Oh, right. It has to be novel, inventive, all that stuff.
Exactly. So just successfully getting that patent granted says something. It inherently signals a certain level of quality, of novelty, of industrial usefulness.
Okay.
And some 2023 research found that when Chinese firms manage to get patents in places like the U.S., it actually boosts their credibility quite significantly on the world stage.
Ah, so it helps them overcome maybe some skepticism or information barriers.
Precisely. It can build trust with international partners, customers, investors, helps them gain access to new markets where maybe buyers are wary of unknown brands.
It's like getting a third-party validation that says, yeah, these guys are serious innovators.
That's a great way to put it. And another study from 2024 reinforces this idea that filing patents across borders acts as the strategic signal of commitment to innovation and quality. It gives firms an edge, particularly in markets where quality is a really big deal.
It's just striking how everything seems to keep looping back to the machinery sector. The paper really hammers home its importance, right,
Yeah.
in the patent data, but also connecting it to trade trends.
Absolutely. The fact that machinery and equipment stands out so clearly across all these different metrics, the ESI,
Mhm.
the PSI from both directions, it really points to a deliberate strategic focus by China.
So what do you think the strategy is?
Well, the pattern suggests maybe a multi-step approach. First, develop serious tech capabilities in specific machinery niches.
Okay.
Second, lock down those innovations with international patents in key markets.
Hmm.
And third, scale up manufacturing and exports in those now protected high-value sectors.
Which puts them squarely in competition with industries historically dominated by, Germany, Japan, the US.
Exactly. It's a direct move into those high-value industrial spaces.
Mm.
And again, other research, like from the Fed, confirms this. They highlighted China's really significant export growth in sophisticated machinery, even pointing specifically to the automotive sector as an area of rapid advancement.
So what we're really charting here isn't just like gradual improvement. It feels more like a fundamental shift, doesn't it? China moving from mainly being that manufacturing partner
Mhm.
to, wow, a direct tech rival, especially in these crucial machinery
I
areas.
think that's the core message, yes.
Mm.
From partner to rival, as the paper title says.
Yeah.
And these patterns and the patent data, they can almost act as an early warning system for advanced economies.
How so?
Well, seeing this convergence, this targeted patenting,
Mm.
it might prompt them to rethink their own IP strategies, maybe reassess how they protect their key innovations, in response to this changing competitive dynamic.
Because the patent filings might show the strategic intent before you see the full impact in, say, trade numbers or market share losses.
Precisely. Patent data often gives you that unique early glimpse into a country's technological ambitions and direction. It's a leading indicator.
Okay, wow. So let's try and pull this all together for everyone listening. What are the absolute key takeaways from this deep dive into China's patent activity?
Right, so the big points are, one, China's international patenting is seriously taking off. Two, the kinds of technologies they're patenting abroad are looking more and more like those patented by advanced economies,
Especially machinery.
especially in machinery, yes.
Huh.
Three, there's a clear strategic alignment. China is targeting patents in sectors highly valued in those advanced economies.
Hmm.
Four, these patents aren't just legal tools. They're signals of quality and credibility, helping Chinese firms compete globally
Right.
and putting it all together.
Yeah.
The overarching theme is this major shift.
Yeah.
China moving from primarily an economic partner in manufacturing to a direct technological competitor,
Mm.
particularly in advanced machinery.
And why should you, listening at home or on your commute, care about all this patent talk?
Huh. Well, because it's not just academic, right? This
Yeah.
stuff has real-world impact. Understanding these shifts helps businesses anticipate market changes. It helps policymakers think about innovation policy. And honestly, it helps all of us just make sense of how the global economic playing field is changing.
Yeah.
Patent data is like getting an early look at the blueprints for future competition.
It really is a valuable lens. So, okay, final thought then. Given everything we've seen, particularly this focus on machinery, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What's our
What's going to be the next big sector? Where else might we see this same dynamic, this intense partner-to-rival shift play out between China and the advanced economies? That's definitely something to keep an eye on.